So on the play against Jund. Now this is actually the first time I have ever played against this deck, so you actually get to see some interesting thought patterns. They might not be optimal, but a lot of this I feel was very well played from looking back at it. There was actually some very big mistakes, although to the naked eye, to someone watching in, might not realize that it was a very big mistake, but that's a lot of great stuff I can talk about. Either way, I love this hand. Pretty much, unless I'm going against combo, which I wasn't. Spell Snare is perfect for turn 2. You know, I can play Island Go in case there was like a Chalice deck. And then, of course, if they play a creature next turn, I can do that. I can play Stoneforge, I can hold up Snare, and then whatever else I get is going to be great. So, they kept 7. Let's play Island. In the blind, I always love playing Spell Snare. That'll help protect against, you know, like turn 1 Chalice, or whatever else someone might play, because that would be kind of crippling. I don't care about someone playing a first turn. Say if this was Death and Texas, like if it was a Mother of Runes, next turn I could just play Swords and plow it. So unless it's like a Goblin Guide, that's like the only way I lose damage first turn. Or a Monastery Swiftspear, you know, playing against Burn. They did nothing, which is always good. So here I believe I played a Swords and did nothing. Because right now I don't know what I'm playing against, so a lot of people right here will just go straight for the Stoneforge. I believe that's a big mistake, especially when I have Spell Snare. Approaching this second turn, you don't usually want to, you know, tap out so you can't play Spell Snare. If you're going to do that, you might as well not play the card, unless you have backup, you know, via Force or something else. Obviously, it's not always going to be that way, but for the most part in this situation, 100% of the time, they are going to be tapping 2. Now, once again, this comes up again. Spell Snare obviously hits it perfectly, but if you look, I do have a Swords to Plowshares. I don't want to Spell Snare this. I'm pretty sure I did put them on being Jund. Like, I'm familiar with the decks. I just watched Menguchi play it on, I think that's his last name, on Channel Fireball. And so I was kind of familiar with the cards. I knew they played Hymn to Turok. I know they have like Dark Confidant, Tarmogoyf, and there's probably many more 2-drops. So I didn't want to Spell Snare this. I let it resolve. And then end of turn, I'm just going to plow it. Perfect. That was a great draw. So now what we can do is play an island. Now we can actually play Stoneforge and keep Spell Snare up. An open board, I'm pretty sure I'm getting Batterskull here. Sure, I love when they do that. I mean, it's pretty much like we still have an advantage of a card. And they are fetching, which is always a good sign when you have a Spell Snare up and they're about to tap for 2 mana. And that decision perfectly paid off. This is the reason for it. You know, I'd always want to keep Spell Snare for stuff like this. Imagine if I Spell Snare that and then I still had my swords. This game would have gone completely different. So I did know about this card in Jund. This card is a pain in the ass, but when you have these, it's very helpful, obviously. Cool, so here I can do quite a few things. I can play a land, and then I can play Stoneforge, and then I can get Jitte and actually play Jitte. Here I actually decided to, I'm pretty sure I'd play Jace. I played this because I want to save my fetch land for, you know, when I Brainstorm. And here I'm actually going to +2 this. As you can see, they have Lightning Bolts. I think they have Kolaghan's Command, Punishing Fire. A lot of cards that can hurt Jace, so I just want to get it to +2. And they had a Thoughtseize here. I actually put this on the bottom. Batterskull is going to be pretty good. You know, they have a lot of big creatures, so I didn't want them to take Batterskull, even though it would be 1-for-1. I would use Stoneforge, and either way, even if they do nothing, I can just simply cast it next turn. So I wanted to protect my hand, so I put that on the bottom. Okay, so this is actually really good for us. Like, them just playing that right out there is it's pretty much like a desperation move. Either that or they were, you know, they have another land to play and they're going to be lightning bolting us. But either way, here I actually got rid of the strand. So that was pretty much like a 1-for-1. So I believe, let's see, I might have +2'd one more time or I Brainstorm. Either way, I wanted to keep it out of Brainstorm range. Okay, now this was actually a very interesting spot. So right here, they didn't play a land last turn, so they don't have any lands, and I do have a Spell Pierce, but this could become useless if they draw 2 lands or if they have discard. I actually chose to keep this on top because I do have a Stoneforge and I can bring in a Batterskull if I need to, so I actually let them keep that because I know they're not going to be getting a land, and if they want to play it, well, you know what's going to happen. So let's play our Stoneforge here. Let's get Jitte. And of course, they can go. Exactly what I was talking about. And ironically enough, Batterskull is so good here that they couldn't take the Spell Pierce. And let's see, they haven't played a land yet. Unless they haven't drawn a land. Okay, so there's that. And that's perfectly fine as well. We already got value out of that. Once again, that's a really solid hand. So now is actually a good time where I could Fate Seal, because I know they're not drawing lands. They do have a Lily, but I think this was the time. I wanted to get it out of Lightning Bolt or any type of bolt range. So, oh, I drew a Ponder. Excuse me, I didn't even go to my draw step yet. So, believe what I might have did here. There's so many things you can do. You can Ponder, you can Brainstorm, or you can Fate Seal, but let's just see what I did. Okay, so I did draw 3 with Jace. Let's see, so here I'm probably throwing back this. And let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it's Jitte. And one more. And what I was going to do is pretty much shuffle. I wanted my land. So let's see, I might have put back a Brainstorm here. Play the land. So now I can actually use Narset, and that will guarantee me value. That's a nice little trick. Sometimes Narset can break, but if you do a Brainstorm or a Ponder, or even, Jace Brainstorm before, if you put like a crappy card like Jitte on top, and even if there's no other cards, like you'll take it to at least get that card advantage. And if you want something else, you can always take something else. In this scenario, I wanted Force of Will to get some extra backup. Like I do know they have a Lily. If they draw land, they'll be able to play it. There's one. Okay, that's actually a pretty good draw. Dark Confidant. Sure. That can resolve. And of course, this is going to either kill this or it's going to attack this. And this is something I actually Force of Willed. And I got rid of the Ponder. Because once again, this is going to be for Liliana. And they also don't know if I have this. Keep that in mind. Great draw. So I believe what I did here is Brainstorm first with Jace. Yes. Now we have an interesting choice to make. So do I want lands? Do I want to put back one of these and then, grab it? Obviously, I don't want to put this back, don't want to put this back. So it's probably going to be, either a land and then one of these. So we have Brainstorm and Spell Pierce. Play a land. Now we can use Narset. Unfortunately, what I should have done is pretty much just keep this in my hand and then do like Brainstorm and something else, because now when I take Spell Pierce, they know that I have it, so that's something to keep in mind. Let's plow this. Let's play this. Now they're just like in desperation mode, I guess, but that's a very easy Spell Pierce. Even if they played that and killed that, like I wasn't too worried about it with the card advantage I was going to be getting. Either way, that was game number 1 of Jund. First time playing against it, so like I said, a little shaky. Let's move on to the sideboarding. We'll talk a little bit about that. All right, so let's move. Let's do this. All right, so Force of Negation, they have a ton of Planeswalkers, like Lily is annoying. You don't probably have to use all of your Force of Wills, but if anything, I'd rather have this just because I can hardcast it and Snapcaster, if I need to. Clique's not going to be bad. Disenchant, probably bringing in Choke, so we're bringing in both of these, maybe a Sylvan Library. Rest in Peace can be useful when it comes to Goyf. Let's see, do they play? They might play Renin 6 if they did. I didn't see it all game. Spell Snare is going to be awesome. Let's see, Hydroblast. They do have a lot of red. They Kolaghan's Command, if they do play, what's it called? They play Lightning Bolt, obviously. If they play Renin 6, there's a few more cards. There was that Braidward Elf, which isn't the best. I think that's what it's called. It's not the best, the Hydroblast, but it can still be helpful. Flusterstorm, I like in this. When they're playing a ton of discard early game, I do like Flusterstorms and Spell Pierces just because you can at least hide information from your hand and, of course, keep your spells safe. And they had a lot of creatures in this, so I would go with Path to Exile. So this is actually kind of a challenging deck to, sideboard with, because you have so many good cards against it. So first and foremost, we're not playing against blue. We're taking that out. Back to basics can be very useful. However, it's not going to be the strategy you want to utilize in this, so I'm taking those out. Narset isn't the greatest, so I'm going to take that out. Let's see, probably trim on one Jace, and let's see what else we got. 2 more cards. I mean, we could take off 1 Force, because we do have our Force of Negation. And maybe 1 more Force. I mean, at this point, it's going to be up to you whether you want to keep in 1 Jace, get rid of a Force. Councils are very helpful. They have a ton of threats, and like I said, Lilianas are a real pain. Disenchants are going to be for Choke and Sylvan Library. I love bringing in 2 Disenchants against decks that use them because they're extremely backbreaking. 5 Swords, so to speak, is going to be very helpful. And overall, I like the way it's going. Anything else in here, like I said, Rest in Peace is like, Goif, and if they have Ren and 6. Back to basics is kind of going to be up to you. If I was going to play it, I think it'd be a little bit better on the play. Narset's just card advantage, which isn't bad against a Hymn to Turok. And of course, Force of Wills, shaving some of those, but we do have our Force of Negation. I'm not as worried about creatures. As you can see, I have those covered. And that's pretty much it. So that's what the sideboarding looked like for this game. Let's go into game number 2. All right, so this game I actually did have back to basics. It was the, spoiler alert, it was the 3rd game where I took it out, so that's the reason why I have it in here. Like I said, sometimes you got to play against the deck a few times to figure out how you want to play against it. So if you want to use this, if you do, if you don't, it's fine. If you're wondering why it was there, they mulliganed 6 cards, but I happen to like my hand. Let's get this show on the road. Okay, first turn nothing is awesome, because that probably means they're doing second turn something. So we're playing Delta here, and we're keeping up Snare. Maybe they thought I was going to stifle them. I don't know. Okay, so once again, do we Spell Snare this? I say no, because there's more important cards you want to Spell Snare. Plus, if they play something turn 2, we'll be able to Spell Snare that. And plus, next turn we can play Tundra and Swords it. So this lives for now. Not for very long. It's really not going to live. There we go. What do you know? Correct again. They're probably like, oh, they're going to get him the Turok, and nope. Not exactly. Land here would be awesome. Land here I get. So now I'm doing nothing once again. I don't want to play back to basics. It's just going to choke them off 1. It's going to choke me on, white. Don't want to do that. So they can do whatever they like. And that is a very easy hard cast Force of Negation. This is pretty much how I love playing Stoneblade. It's just answer to whatever they have, and then usually some type of haymaker. But we don't exactly have a lot of haymakers. If they weren't playing around back to basics, it would certainly play it, but it can still come in handy later on. Not a bad draw. And let's see. So right now, I can Ponder, I can Brainstorm, or I can hold up Snapcaster Snare, Snapcaster Swords, or let's see if I did something here. I probably Pondered, looking for lands. I actually like this. What I did here was Swords, land. I want to, I need more lands because my hand is pretty mana hungry, especially with the Snapcaster. Sure. That is, let's see, not fine. Let's Brainstorm. So what I wanted to do here, I wanted to hide this, and I wanted to hide a Swords. So what I chose to do was put these 2 back on top, or excuse me, this back on top, so Swords and then Snapcaster, and then they can choose from one of these 2. They're probably not going to take the back to basics. They can have the Swords, it's not a big deal, but I want to keep Snapcaster Mage because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next turn I can actually Snapcaster Force of Negation, so Swords and then then Snapcaster. So they'll probably take the Swords here. Sure. So here, let's see, I would need plenty of blue. So 1, 2, yeah. So I can play, what did I have on top? Oh, I don't know what the next card is on top, actually. So I want to make sure I have enough blue. So I would need 1, 1, and then 2, 3. So I do have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's fine. So here I'm going to do nothing. All right, so here's where I made a massive mistake. I guess probably it's from not playing this. I should have thought about it, but if I was playing my normal Stoneblade game, I would. It's only three freaking damage. I don't need to worry about this. It's not killing me anytime soon. I can, what's it called? You know, take 3 damage. But what I decided to do is get all hunky dory over here and swords it. So I swords that. Then of course they play Liliana, which means now I'm probably in a little bit of trouble, but in that specific scenario, all I needed to do was just wait, flash in Snapcaster Mage, and then Force of Negation. You know, so that was a very big mistake on my part. Probably any other game where I was playing against a deck I knew better, I would have waited, but you know, what are you going to do? That's why you play these games, so you learn how to get better and whatnot. Usually stuff like that doesn't happen when I'm, say, playing against like Death and Taxes, because I actually know their deck. Here I'm actually playing out back to basics. They know it's in my hand. It can at least shut off double black, so that was the reasoning behind that. And I also have double white, so if I get Council's Judgment and they use that on that, that's fine. I guess it's not going to be on a Stoneforge. Here, Delta, because I want double white. Although I guess I could keep that. They do play Wasteland, so that's kind of important. Brainstorm. They do have a Lily in their hand, so if I Brainstorm now and I get like a True-Name, that means they're going to have to waste it on that, which isn't a horrible trade. But I do need some answers. Okay, that's even better. So what I want to do here is put this back, play this, shuffle the rest, and then play Batterskull. Looks like we're going to be getting into some Batterskull tricks. Okay, let's play that. If they want to sacrifice Lily just to kill that, I am more than happy with that. But they don't. They want to play a Glyph, and I don't blame them. Oh, and now they want to do that. Okay, that was very interesting. Because they could have just, you know, I guess they might have a good card they want in their hand, so it kind of does make sense. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can Brainstorm. Let's see. So this is one of those times where, let's see, it's a very interesting call. You're probably better off waiting until next turn. I think I did it now, and let's see, not the greatest draw here, so pretty much it's going to be like 1, 2, this back, play Flooded Strand. Okay, so now I can return. I'm going to take a hit from Glyph. I can bring it back to my hand and then play it. Sure. That'll probably become obnoxious. Also want to make sure I shuffle because okay, let's see what we got now. Pretty much nothing, so I'm just going to play this. I tap that way because now I can hold up Counterspell and I can hold up Swords To Plowshares. They don't know that I have a Delta in my hand until then. And the reason I did that is because so I can bring it back to my hand. Now, they have no cards in their hand. I was actually considering fetching right now because if they got a Assassin's Trophy, you know, say I go to bring this back, but either way, if I go to return it, they're going to Assassin's Trophy in response, so it didn't matter too much. Plus, I was at 10. If I cracked this, I was going to be at 9. So if they had an Assassin's Trophy, I'm pretty much screwed in the first place, so not a big deal. Okay, they're playing Clue Hunter over there. Another Glyph, sure. Very easy block. Okay, now we can crack and return. Once again, we're doing our Batterskull tricks. Step right up. Batterskull disappears and keeps boomeranging right back at you. Okay, so first I have to count how much mana I have. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, so I can play this. But if I play Brainstorm, that means I can't return it to my hand, or I have to draw another land. I decided... I think I was just tapping incorrectly. Yeah. Come on, you can do it. I tapped 6, there we go. This time I held on to it. Sure. Good thing I held on to it, but not the greatest cards in the world. Like I said, I do bring in Flusterstorm against a lot of like early game. This is certainly better on the play. But here what I want to do is Spell Pierce, click, draw Fluster, and I might as well just Fluster it. There's no point in letting them take it. Always make them make the bad play and just like, give them the option to play mana. Obviously I have nothing in my hand, but you never know. You're better off just countering that than letting it resolve. So it doesn't really matter who I block here because they're all 6. Who do I like the least? This one. So I gain a little life. So now, not much to do. Let's play this. Let's see what they got. Tracker. I forgot if I put it. Let's see. Puts draw 0 cards. Let them keep it. At this point, I mean, I don't know. A land still is not going to... They have a wasteland, I know. They can crack that, and now it's going to be a... Let's see. 7/6. This was a very bad play on their part, because I wasn't 100% positive that they actually have this. Plus, if they do the math, let's see, 12... minus 7 is going to be 5. Like, no matter what, unless I block wrong, I'm losing. You're at least better off attacking with all of them. Make me make the correct block in the middle, and then not show that. That's just giving me extra information. Because I believe I had like 1 disenchant in this game. Because like I said, first time playing against it, but I assumed they had choke. I wasn't 100% positive. I just made the block there, and then I ended up going to 0. So, interesting choice by them. Probably shouldn't have played that. That gives me more information, even though someone who had been playing this, this deck many times would know that. But either way, you got to consider that when you're playing against someone. Let's move to the final game against Jund, game numero tres. All right, the good guys are on the play here. And like I said, that whole turn where I Snapcaster Plow instead of keeping up Snapcaster Force of Negation, I can pretty much guarantee you that lost me the game because that Liliana started to take over. I'm sure I could have handled the Goyf with plenty of other cards I had. I could have chump blocked it and so on and so forth. But that was a very bad part of it. Either way, I like this hand. First turn, I can keep up Spell Pierce. Second turn, I can sword something. Great hand. I like it. Not my most favorite in the world. Certainly not pondering here. Just kidding. I am. Haha, gotcha. Now, because I wasn't worried about if they, what's the word? Inquisition me or Thoughtseize. So what I wanted here, these are actually not bad cards. The problem here is that I'm not going to be able to hard cast Force of Negation, but I will have mana up. So like I could play a Stoneforge and keep Spell Pierce up. So I believe what I did was Council's Judgment on the bottom, then Force of Negation, and then Plains, because I want to keep Force of Negation up for some type of Haymaker. And if they play discard next turn, I want to keep that covered. So it should be Council's, Force, and Plains. So yeah, I'm not too worried about just Thoughtseize or, whatever they want to play here. Inquisition, that's fine. Let's see what they take. They took a Swords, which means they're probably going to be playing a creature next turn, which isn't a big deal. In not this turn, but the next turn, I will have Snapcaster Plow up. And here I wanted to protect against a Hymnaturok. That's the reason why I didn't play Stoneforge, even though I could force and Snapcaster that. This is going to be a much better answer. Plus, like I said, they have choke in this. They have Liliana. That's completely fine. So here I had to make a choice. I can pretty much do nothing and let them get card advantage off of this. I can Council Judgment this, or I can Snapcaster Swords this, or I can play Stoneforge and leave up Spell Pierce. That's also another solid option. Actually, looking back at it, I think Stoneforge equipment would have been the best one. That gives me a little bit of a card advantage. They gotta deal with it, even though they are gonna get a card off of this. So I decided here to actually Snapcaster Swords. At least I have backup to something backbreaking. And if they play like a Liliana, I have that covered too. So I'm not too... If they have a Liliana, they're probably going to sacrifice creature, and then I can just counsels it. And what do they have here? What do we have behind door number 3? Alright, so once again, another really interesting spot in this matchup. So this would only be tapped, which isn't the worst, but that means I have to pretty much eventually find a land, and then until I do, then this is gonna pretty much, I can't play this, but I could also Force Of Negation to something else. There's definitely, this is a very interesting spot, because even if I don't draw a land, I can play Stoneforge and then, you know, do whatever else. So I'm actually surprised I didn't let this go. There's a lot of games where I play against Chalice and I'm like, yeah, I got 2/1 drops, I'll just take care of it when I find a land. This one actually did Force Of Negation. And then I'm just going to be so happy when I draw a land. Okay, then. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do this. And ironically enough, like my sideboarding was much different when I showed you. This one I had so much in it that I actually took out my Jitte. I'm like, it's not the greatest against like Tireless Tracker that gets bigger. Goyf gets bigger. It's good against Dark Confident. Usually I hate taking out Jitte, but sometimes I have so many good cards I want to bring in against the deck where that's usually like the last card I take out. So that was the case in this scenario, and that's the reason why. If I had Jitte, I might have gotten that and just played it so that, you know, if they have a Hymn to Turok, it's not going to be all that great for me, although they might have played it already if they did. But we will fight on, because that's what Stoneblade does. If that's the best thing they have right now, then I am cool with that. Sure. This is where back to basics would start getting good. Okay, that's not the worst. So, this dude is going to be getting in the way, so I could Council's Judgment it, but if I don't Council's Judgment that, they could play Lily, and if they play it without an extra mana, I can Spell Pierce it, so actually like getting rid of Goyf here. And being on the beatdown, the Snap-O-Matic for 2, getting in for 2. He knows how it's done. That's right. Okay, so now they can bring that crap back. So he is, he did his work. He did some plowing and he did some attacking, and now he is in the bin with everyone else. Okay, that's fine. Show me a land. Okay, we'll take it, and we will certainly crack that, and we will hope they don't play choke again. Do they play choke? I don't think they do. Yep, we've seen that before. It looks like we're going to be doing some more Batterskull tricks. This was a very close matchup all the way through. You know, discard really helps, you know, to kind of narrow things down, lower the amount of cards, get into top deck mode. I feel like card advantage is very helpful in this. Ooh, oh, well, that's not too bad either. So let's get rid of this doofus because he's going to be a problem. Just because, I mean, that's what we got. I don't also... Despite the fact I love playing a really good control game with Stoneblade, when you're playing against a lot of discard spells, keeping these cards in your hand can be troublesome. First, I wanted to see if they wanted to offer the trade. I wouldn't mind that at all, because once again, I can bring this back to my hand and just play it again. They did not, unfortunately. So they just took it. Because pretty soon they're going to be able to double punishing fire that. Or actually, they could probably do that next turn if they wanted to. So let's get rid of this again. However, they are going to get their card off of it. It's funny, you can actually vote for this. I don't want you to draw a card, but you can keep the guy who's going to keep allowing you to draw more. Spell Pierce is starting to wither away and lose value. That's fine. There he is again. See one, play one. Ooh! Now this is what I wanted to see. Now normally, you definitely don't want to Spell Pierce this. What you want to do is make them tap all their mana, and then Spell Pierce the, what's it called? There we go. We're getting some value out of this. This is perfect. So that was pretty much just a 1-for-1 exchange, despite the fact they used the Punishing Fire too. It's like 1.5. They're going to get it back. You know what I mean? So that was actually really good. I'm glad we got some value out of that Spell Pierce. They're probably like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. Not a bad card to draw. Let's attack. They have so many 2-drops in their deck. They haven't played too many. Goyf, Confidant, Hymn to Turok. You know how it is. Sure. They're having a lot of trouble with this thing. Okay, I can see how that is. Let's see. Cascade into a 2-drop, please. Just, why not? Okay, well, there that is. So, looks like the snares is being dissolved. It's gone. Good riddance. Sayonara. See you later. Attack. You know you want to. Okay, they don't want to attack. Aha! So, what I want to do here is first is attack, and then let's see what they want to do. Do they want to trade? Do they want to go lower? They do. I like it. Perfect. And despite the fact that they could have like an Assassin's Trophy, and what that does is if I play this, like if I go to return it and do 3, they can Assassin's Trophy, where if I had this in here also, I can return it on the stack. However, I love keeping lands in my hand against discard decks, simply because if they Thought Seize me, they're just going to lose 2 life, and it's like a 0 for 1. You know what I mean? They're just wasting a card, or even an Inquisition. So if they want to play like a Hymn, or if they want to play a Thought Seize, sure. Looks like they're going to be getting a lot of value here. That's nice, and they are exactly what I'm talking about. Plus, the fact of the matter is that they're pretty low life right now, and playing this is it's going to do a little damage. It's going to take 2. That's a pretty big deal. Sure. I love doing. I cannot tell you how many times I've kept lands in my hand. If you've seen me play, you know how much I love not playing out a lot of my lands unless I really need them, and that works very well against discard. Okay, that's not a bad draw. Now think of it. If I play Ponder here, I will still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, so this is definitely a great spot to Ponder. Aha! Okay, we found something even better. So here what I want to do is actually play Delta, Ponder, True-Name. Okay, so by playing True-Name, that means it could be a 1-turn clock, because if he's going to attack for 3, so if they draw anything that's 1 or 2, they're going to be in trouble. And so I also want to Ponder too, because after drawing Ponder, I can crack Arid Mesa and look for something else better. So Delta, bottom, Ponder, bottom, True-Name, bottom. Yes. Can play that. Now let's play True-Name. Because if I play Batterskull, if I played Batterskull there, that means I would lose my Ponder, and Ponder is getting very good at this point of the game, especially now because next turn what I can do is draw my Ponder, fetch this. I didn't want whatever was on the bottom of Polluted Delta. Then I get a full look at 3 cards, or maybe even 1 more if I shuffle with my Ponder. That's why this is very helpful to maximize your, obviously. I believe they just get like a Bloodstained Mire here, and that's fine. I know they're not getting anything else. And apparently they know they're not getting anything else either. So that was a very close match. And that game 2 is a perfect scenario where with Stoneblade, if you make the smallest little slip up, you can lose. Heck, even game 1 and 2 before that. Remember when they played a Goyf or a Dark Confidant and I didn't Spell Snare it? Instead, I Swords to Plowshare it and I kept up blue, and then both times I Spell Snared their him the Turok. The fact of the matter is this deck pretty much always has the tools to win, but usually if you lose, you want to be able to go back and say like, okay, what did I do wrong there? I probably could have played that differently. Very rarely, or at least in my case, it doesn't usually come up where like the person has everything and you just can't do anything about it. Maybe if you're playing against Reanimator and they turn 1, Chancellor you into all this other crap, but for the most part, this deck just has game against everything, which is why I love it so much. Either way, that was the first time I played against Jund. Thank you for watching. If you saw any other lines or plays I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. But for the most part, it was that game 2. Should have waited on the Snapcaster and kept up Snapcaster Force of Negation, but you make mistakes so you can learn from them and become a better overall Magic player. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.